Welcome to the Roadsmiths, everybody. You know, 2023 is almost over, and it was another awesome year of travel. We went to some great places, had some great adventures, and we met just some absolutely awesome people. So in this video, we want to show you some of the highs and lows and just really what we covered in the year. But before we do that, if you're a returning viewer, we want to thank you for the support that you've given us over the years. And if you're new here, well, I'm Ken.
And I'm Pam. But first, before we get started in the details, we want to show you this montage of the highs and the lows, some of the things that we've experienced over the past year.
As the wind blows through my window, I remember it all so well. Winter came so fast that year, and just outside a cheap motel, I saw you standing on the sidewalk as the cold wind started to sway. With your head held high as our eyes met, I remember what you used to say. How many times can we say goodbye? Well, I'll see you on the other side. Oh, we try to pick up the pieces. Two hearts that will never be the same. Back in early December, what a night to remember. Standing by your father's house, holding you tight in the pouring rain. Back in early December, what a night to remember. Standing by your father's house, holding you tight in the pouring rain. Back in early December, what a night to remember.
What a great year it was. But we want to share some of the details, some of the things that we loved, our favorite things, some of the things that weren't so great, because there are lots of those too. So let's get into it.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the number of states that we traveled in the miles. So we actually went through 21 states, and that is pulling the RV through those. And we covered 8,225 miles in the RV. And that was a lot of stuff, but again, some great things to see.
To make it easy, we've categorized it into some of our favorites and not favorites. We've traveled, like I said, into so many new states this year, but we did choose 4 of those new states as our favorites: Minnesota, Oregon, Washington, and Arizona.
Yeah, and these are all great states, all 4 of them. And not to disparage any of those states, we picked Oregon as the best new state visited. It's just an amazing place. The topography difference in just a short period of time that you drive, in terms of miles, is amazing. You've got, coastal Oregon, you've got the dunes on the coast, you've got the Willamette Valley, great wine area, you've got the high desert area of Bend and Sisters, and it's all amazing. You've got the Cascades, and so it's just very amazing. Not to mention the food, and the seafood was awesome. And the people that we met were just really nice.
Some fantastic people. Just so many outdoor activities. That's what we loved so much about it too.
Yeah, absolutely. So Oregon, and again, not to disparage the other states, you guys are great as well, but this year it's Oregon. So another category that we have to include is best campgrounds. And so those of you that have followed us for a while know that we've stayed at Ocala North several times for March. That's a great place. We love that place. However, we've stayed at some really other good places as well. One of them was Wohank RV Resort in Florence, Oregon, which that video is not out yet. That'll be coming out in a couple of weeks, and that's where we did the sand dunes and the sand rails, and that was amazing. We stayed at Camp Margaritaville in Auburndale, Florida, which we did the Southern Alliance Rally there, and that place is amazing as well. It's like Disney World for RVers.
For adult. I mean, yeah, I think it's like a playground for adults.
Yeah, it really. And there's kids areas in there as well, but maybe just because we were there during the rally and there was some shenanigans taking place, but it was just a lot of fun. And the last one, again, you haven't seen this video yet either, and this is Ben's Sisters RV Resort in Sisters, Oregon. This resort is actually rated really, really high, and we loved it. It's got a lot of amenities, a lot of close things to do. Bend is such an outdoors area. Yeah, just a beautiful place. But I think we have to go back to Ocala North just because of how long we've stayed there before, the activities, the close proximity of things. I mean,
Well, it's not fancy, but it's really nice. It has so much to offer within the campground, but it's just centrally located to so many other things within the central part of Florida that you can enjoy and explore.
Yeah, and if you've watched some of our videos before, we've talked about Ocala in the past was always a drive-through city for us, but the fact that we've got to enjoy some of that and go to some of the natural springs, just amazing. So once again, it's Ocala North. However, they were purchased last year by Sun Outdoors, and we haven't stayed there since they were purchased. So things may change a bit. We don't know, but we just love that place, and we'll link some videos that we've done from there and a review that we did before. Well, one of the reasons you buy an RV is to go on adventures, right? Travel and go on adventures. And so this category is Best Adventure. So we did a lot of great things. We did two things that we've never done before since we've been traveling. But first one is the razor riding that we did in Montana. So Kurt and Tracy of the Silver Knot took us on their razors in the backcountry of Montana. That was a blast. Still think they were trying to kill us, but I'm not sure. If you go back and look at that video, it was a lot of fun. Almost equal to that were the sand rails that we did in Florence, Oregon. Again, that video isn't out quite yet. That'll be coming out here soon. And that was a blast. We did that with Ron and Jody of Just Rambling Around. And that was an amazing adventure as well. But the other two.
Well, and the other two, when we started full-time RV travel, we thought that we were going to be able to enjoy a lot of the locations and adventures with our kids. We finally got to make that happen with at least two of our daughters and their husbands. We do have another daughter and her husband and grandkids that I hope that we'll be able to share adventures with this next year or so. The first one that we enjoyed so much was sharing Glacier National Park, one of our very favorite national parks, with Jordan and Tanner. And we got to fly them up there, and she celebrated her 30th birthday with us while there, and it was fantastic. The other was when we flew Madison and Carson to Lake Tahoe, and we got to enjoy the beautiful Lake Tahoe area with them for several days. And so if we had to choose adventures or favorite adventures, it was
a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, it really was. So obviously getting to share those times with our kids were by far our favorite experiences.
So when you travel 8,200 and change miles across the states, you're gonna run into issues. So we actually categorized this one as the scariest moment. So we've got really four that we'd like to share with you, and then we'll come back to one that I believe is the scariest. So in Montana, we hit a storm that started to run water across Interstate 90 as we were heading west. And we literally had to stop right on Interstate 90 and make a decision. Do we cross this water that was across the road? And it was about 6 inches.
It was this deep.
Yeah, it was pretty deep. And as we stopped to consider that, it started hailing on us. And so, but we got through that, and that was fine. Another one was when we got to outside of Spokane, we had seen a lot of wildfires around. And as we were approaching Spokane, we saw another one, and we thought, that's exactly where we're going. And yes, indeed it was. So there was a wildfire that started that morning in Medical Lake, Washington, right outside of Spokane, and we were supposed to be staying there. And as we got in, detached the truck, started to get set up, the owners came out and said, you guys got to go. We have to evacuate. And we had no place to go, so we had to find a place to go.
But keep in mind, our thoughts and our prayers were first and foremost with those residents who lived in the Medical Lake area.
Yeah, because they couldn't just basically connect and get the heck out of there as we did. So that was pretty scary stuff. As we came back to Texas last year, we went through the dreaded, I call it worst road in America, Shreveport, Louisiana, and I-20. And when we got to Longview, we wound up with the kitchen slide being cattywampus and not going in, not going out. And so we had to get that resolved. Thank goodness some friends of ours, Joel and Tanya from Great Adventure RV, and This Is Our Adventure, their YouTube channel, were close by. He came over, helped us get this slide.
Joel and Tanya to the rescue.
Another one, and you haven't seen much about this, and we're still kind of suffering the consequences, but we think we're going to be okay. one of the batteries in our truck exploded in Philomath, Oregon. And amazingly enough, so we got sulfuric acid all in the engine compartment. And interestingly enough, we made it all the way back to Texas, even after being in Oregon and Las Vegas and Lake Tahoe. And then a week after we got here, we started smelling diesel fumes. It's been in there since, so they're replacing a lot of stuff in the engine. And we're supposed to get it back tomorrow. We're kind of fingers crossed here so we can get out to Florida. But I got to say, that, I mean, they were all bad, but the scariest moment for me as a driver was having to make that decision to cross that water across the road on I-90 in Montana. And you know, put it in four-wheel drive, and most people tell you don't cross that. But we had there was no shoulder.
There were no exits. And the interesting part is that they had actually taken all 4 lanes. It was a divided highway, right. 4 lanes, and we were all on 2 lanes. It was crazy.
Yeah, so that was definitely the scariest moment.
We cook a lot in our RV, but we also enjoy experiencing the food for the different areas where we are. So the category of the best meal out probably goes down to the Fish Peddler, which was in Garibaldi, Oregon,
yep.
which was incredible. Brick City Grill.
Brick City Southern Kitchen.
Brick City Southern Kitchen.
In Ocala.
Okay, in Ocala. Oh gosh.
Yahat's Brewery.
Yahat's Brewery.
It looks like Yatchet's. It looks like Yatchet's. We were corrected. It's Yahat's Brewery, and that was great. And what was and then the last one was?
I don't remember.
The Pitchfork Fondue.
How could I forget? The Pitchfork Fondue. Okay, first let me say, Pitchfork Fondue was an experience. Please don't mistake what we're saying that it was great food, because I can't say it was great food.
No, the food was good.
But the experience was incredible. I'd never seen anything like this before. They actually, well,
who doesn't
it's on a video.
I mean, who doesn't like deep fried steak? I mean, at the end of the day, that's, you know, while it was a top sirloin, it wasn't a great steak, but it was awesome. I enjoyed it.
And that's in Medora, North Dakota. So the winner of those would have to be, actually it's a given for Ken, it's the Fish Peddler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like cioppino, actually if you just like seafood, so the Fish Peddler is basically like a seafood market that has probably about 8 tables, but the food was amazing. We went there twice. We had oysters, you had, I think,
you had the same food twice.
I had cioppino twice, and
you ate 4 times?
Well, because I was able to take some take home out of that. I couldn't even finish it, and it was only $16 for a bowl of cioppino, and as you see in the video, it was loaded with seafood. So the Fish Peddler, I'm not sure how you're doing it, but we love that you do it, and we just hope that you keep doing it.
Talking about food again, there is a category that we just have to include. We weren't planning to, but it was so weird, we have to share it with you. In Kelso, Washington, we had been hiking all day.
Mount Rainier.
Starving, yes, spent the day at Mount Rainier starving. So I Googled the best pizza in the area, and a place came up called Papa Zuzu's. And so of course we ordered, and I went to pick it up, and let me tell you, I found out it's not really a restaurant. Actually what it is, it's a heavy metal nightclub. And
But the pizza place is in the nightclub. And
yeah. But don't let the heavy metal or the people walking around with elf ears or, you know, dolls hanging on the wall, don't let that scare you, because the food's fantastic.
Yeah, it's in a club called Erebus, and so again, no disrespect to the people in that area, and it was just another great experience. But I will say this: the pizza was awesome. The pizza was, and I'm a New York guy, so pizza is kind of like an important staple food for me. And that pizza was really, really good. So
if you're in Kelso, Washington, if you want some great pizza, and if you want to enjoy some really great, heavy metal, they have live music, that's the place to go.
Just bring your earplugs. Of course, when you travel, internet is so very important to us. And so we've seen some videos from us before. We have both T-Mobile and AT&T as cellular coverage. We don't have Starlink at this point. Maybe we'll get that at some point. So I wanted to kind of classify this into best and worst internet experiences. And I really can't say a best. There were some places where, you know, it was okay. Some places where it was really, really good. But there was one place where it was zero. There was literally no internet. And not only that, there was no over-the-air TV reception. So, you know, we just had to deal with that. Of course, there was a lot to do there, but that's Crater Lake Oregon. And so if you've ever been there, you know it's pretty remote. Luckily, the RV resort that we stayed at had some DVDs to rent because...
And we have a DVD player for those moments.
So at night, after we went and did some hiking up there, we had to have some entertainment that way. But so if you're there, don't expect internet or TV, and find something else to do. So if you followed us for a while, you know that we love the Harvest Host program. We frequent those many times. This year we did 9, which is a little bit less than we've done before, but nonetheless, these were great Harvest Hosts. But we had to kind of narrow this down a little bit, so we narrowed it down to 4, and of course we'll give you the pick for 2023 in our opinion. The Silver Knot is still, at the end of the day, one of the best Harvest Hosts we've ever stayed at in Rona and Montana. Stayed there last year on the way to Glacier, stayed there this year as work campers, and we just love that location. We got to know Kurt and Tracy, the owners, really well, and their family. Just had a great time. We stayed at a winery in the Willamette Valley called Cardwell Hill Cellars, and this place was absolutely stunning. It looked like a French villa, up against a countryside. And the wine was just fantastic. In Billings, Montana, as we were getting into Montana this year, we stayed at a golf course, and I think that was one of the first golf courses we ever stayed at. It was called Eagle Rock Golf Course. It was very quiet. We met a nice couple from upstate New York, and then the next morning we got up, and the golf pro said, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" We said, "Well, we don't have to, leave so soon." So he gave us a golf cart, let us kind of drive around the golf course for a while and check it out, and that was a great experience.
Meka loved it.
And then the last one is a place called Missing Peace Landing, and this is in Seminary, Mississippi. It's sort of, I won't say it's off the beaten path. It's near Hattiesburg.
Home state.
Pam's home state.
So I have a little bit of a special attachment there.
Yeah, and so this award, not because it's her home state, but for this year, it goes to Missing Peace Landing. And the reason we did that is, one, we had a great stay there. The Harvest Host program is amazing relative to the places you stay and the views. And then when you get to meet the owners, that's even better. And so we spent some time with Jody and Charles, the owners of Missing Peace Landing, and they're just salt of the earth people. They moved from a different part of the country to Mississippi, and they're trying to get their feet under them there. They rescue horses,
and they do some amazing work in that area, and it's really a cool experience. If you're ever in that area of Seminary, Mississippi, make sure to go visit Missing Peace Landing.
Yeah, I think it's north of Hattiesburg, and we sat down, had an adult beverage with them, so loved that place. And Jody, Charles, if you're watching, we may see you again here sometime soon.
Coming back through. Living and traveling the country, mostly full-time in this RV, allows us to do so many things, but it also allows us to check off bucket list items. A few of those things that we got to do this year that were really cool was visit the Grand Canyon.
Finally.
Yeah, the Oregon coast, which is fantastic, as we've mentioned. Go to Mount St. Helens, and maybe more so for me, this is one than Ken, but to see a moose in the wild. It doesn't take much to make me happy. But we traveled all the way from Maine coast to Montana. Anyway, this past year we finally got to see moose in the wild, and not only did we see one, but we got to see 4 moose in the wild. So that's, again, one of the things that this lifestyle offers you, the ability to not only adventure and see cool places, but just checking those bucket list items is really pretty special.
Yep. So one of the categories that we thought of was the biggest surprise that we had of the year, because there's a lot of surprises. When you travel, you're amazed at some of the places that you go, and you didn't expect much, and it turned out to be an awesome place.
In our experience, it seems like it's the smaller places you visit seem to have the biggest surprise.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the epic place, because your expectations are sort of, accordingly that way. So as we talked about, we had a slide failure coming back through Shreveport last year, so we had to go up to the Alliance factory. And of course, we timed that with going to the Alliance rally, and that was a lot of fun, the national rally. But while we were there, the rig had to go into the factory for a week, and so we had to stay in a hotel. And so we thought, what are we going to do while we're stranded in Elkhart? And we did a video about that, so we'll put a link here above. So it was just amazing, right? At the end of the day, it's like we didn't expect much, but when we started seeing what there is to do in Elkhart and really the surrounding area, whether it's Southwest Michigan, whether it's going a little bit further west. So I always want to go to Notre Dame University, so we had a chance to go to Notre Dame. We went to Holland, Michigan. We went to St. Joe, Michigan, which is amazing.
The southwest area of Michigan is really cool.
And it's all accessible from Elkhart. We went to the RV Hall of Fame, and that was great. And of course, if you want to tour other, rig manufacturers, I mean, gosh, most of them are there. We got a chance to tour Renegade, which we love, and so it was a great time. So we were just very, very surprised about how much there was to do when you were stranded in Elkhart.
And keep in mind that we only scratched the surface. There's still so much more to do in the Elkhart area that we didn't even get to do during the time there. So
yeah, so if you're going to go there, don't worry unless it's winter, and you should be very worried. We're actually recording this video in the last couple days of 2023, so 2024 is coming upon us pretty quick. However, there's a number of videos that'll be coming out in 2024, finishing up our travels in 2023. And that is going to be, as we talked about before, Florence, Oregon, and riding the sand rails, hanging out with Ron and Jody of Just Rambling Around. From there, we went down to Bend and Sisters, Oregon area, and that was just an incredible experience as well. So we'll have that.
Crater Lake.
We went down to Crater Lake.
Lake Tahoe.
Lake Tahoe.
Las Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
And the Grand Canyon.
And the Grand Canyon, and then back here to Texas for the holidays. So those videos will be coming out in the beginning of the year, so be looking for those. And we'll put a playlist up for our 2023 travel, so you can kind of binge watch if you're a little hungover on New Year's Day, if you happen to be watching this on New Year's. So we'd appreciate that. And thanks for joining us. And if you like our channel, we'd love for you to subscribe if you haven't already. And just
do all the things.
Yeah, follow our journey
but
with us.
2024 is going to be another epic year, we hope. So make sure to join us. And in the meantime, you guys have a safe and happy and prosperous new year.
Happy New Year.